The crowded hotel ballroom froze when a distinguished businessman quietly reached for the hand of a woman standing beside him and whispered, "Pretend to be my wife today." Before anyone could question the strange request, she looked into his exhausted eyes, saw years of hidden pain behind his forced smile, and gently answered, "Only if you stop pretending you're fine." In that breathtaking moment, the room thought they were acting. Neither of them realized those words would become the beginning of the most important promise either had ever made. If you believe in kindness, forgiveness, hope, and second chances, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel. Every bit of support helps our community continue sharing emotional stories that remind us that love often arrives when we least expect it. Colton Hayes had built one of the most respected architectural firms in the country, but success came at an enormous personal cost. After losing both of his parents within a single year, he buried his grief beneath endless meetings, construction projects, and business achievements. To everyone around him, he appeared confident, composed, and completely in control. The truth was painfully different. Every evening he returned to a silent house where awards decorated the walls but laughter had long disappeared. He convinced himself that staying busy was the same as healing, even though his loneliness grew heavier with every passing season. One bright spring afternoon, Colton attended a charity fundraising event hosted by one of his largest clients. The gathering brought together influential community leaders, donors, and business executives. While reviewing event details, he learned that many guests expected him to arrive with a spouse because outdated publicity articles still mentioned an engagement that had ended years earlier. Embarrassed and unwilling to explain his private life to hundreds of strangers, he quietly considered leaving before the event even began. As he stood near the entrance, he noticed a volunteer carefully arranging flowers that had fallen from a decorative display. Her name was Alara Brooks, a local elementary school art teacher who spent nearly every weekend volunteering for community charities. She carried herself with remarkable kindness, greeting every guest with genuine warmth instead of forced politeness. Unlike everyone else, she seemed completely uninterested in Colton's wealth or reputation. A last-minute misunderstanding caused several organizers to assume Alara was accompanying Colton. Before rumors spread through the crowded ballroom, Colton nervously asked if she would pretend to be his wife for the afternoon to avoid creating unnecessary attention. He expected her to laugh or refuse. Instead, Alara studied his face with quiet compassion. She noticed the tired eyes hidden behind expensive clothes, the carefully practiced smile that never reached his heart, and the loneliness that no amount of success could disguise. With gentle honesty, she agreed on one condition. He had to stop pretending he was fine. Those words struck deeper than any criticism he had ever received. For the first time in years, someone had looked beyond the successful businessman and recognized the grieving man still carrying invisible pain. Throughout the afternoon, they moved naturally through conversations with guests who admired them as an elegant couple. They smiled for photographs, greeted families, and spoke about community projects. Yet the most meaningful conversations happened away from the crowd while walking through the charity garden beneath the warm afternoon sun. Alara shared stories about her students, explaining how children often hid sadness behind smiles because they feared becoming a burden to others. She believed adults were no different. People became experts at pretending everything was perfect while quietly hoping someone would notice they were struggling. Colton found himself speaking honestly without realizing it. He admitted he no longer remembered what happiness felt like. Every achievement seemed empty because there was no one waiting to celebrate with him. His beautiful home had become little more than a place to sleep before returning to work. Alara never interrupted. She simply listened. Sometimes being heard is more healing than receiving advice. After the event ended, Colton thanked her for helping him survive the afternoon. He assumed their paths would never cross again. Life had different plans. Several weeks later, Colton's company volunteered to renovate the aging community center where Alara organized children's art programs. Their unexpected reunion felt effortless, as though an invisible thread had quietly connected their lives. Working side by side every weekend, they painted classrooms, repaired playground equipment, and transformed neglected spaces into places filled with color and hope. Watching Alara encourage frightened children, comfort struggling parents, and celebrate every small victory reminded Colton that success was measured by lives changed, not money earned. Slowly, the walls around his heart began to crumble. He laughed more often. He worked fewer weekends. He even reopened the garden his mother had once loved, planting fresh flowers in her memory instead of avoiding painful reminders. Meanwhile, Alara carried struggles of her own. After caring for her younger brother through years of illness before his passing, she had quietly abandoned dreams of starting a family because she feared experiencing that kind of heartbreak again. Helping others became easier than risking love herself. One sunny afternoon, while organizing a neighborhood picnic for local families, Colton noticed how naturally children gathered around Alara. They trusted her without hesitation because kindness has a language everyone understands. He realized the future he wanted no longer involved impressive buildings or larger business contracts. He wanted ordinary afternoons filled with laughter. He wanted someone who reminded him that healing wasn't weakness. He wanted her. Instead of planning an extravagant romantic surprise, Colton chose simplicity. He invited Alara to visit the newly restored community garden where they had first shared honest conversations months earlier. Families walked nearby, children chased butterflies, and sunlight danced across colorful flowers blooming where neglected soil had once existed. Colton thanked her for accepting a request that had begun as nothing more than pretending. He confessed that somewhere between helping strangers, rebuilding classrooms, and sharing ordinary afternoons, pretending had quietly become real. The woman who had agreed to stand beside him for one charity event had slowly become the person beside whom he wanted to spend every tomorrow. Alara smiled through happy tears. She admitted she had fallen in love not with the successful businessman everyone admired but with the gentle man who finally allowed himself to be vulnerable. The strongest people, she believed, weren't those who never cried. They were the ones brave enough to stop hiding their pain. Hand in hand, they walked through the blooming garden surrounded by laughter, friendship, and hope. Neither of them had rescued the other alone. They had simply given each other permission to heal. A year later, the same charity hosted another daytime fundraiser. This time, guests welcomed Colton and Alara not as strangers pretending to be married but as a genuinely happy couple preparing for their wedding. Many volunteers remembered the day their unusual story had quietly begun, smiling as they watched two once lonely hearts build a future together. Before this story comes to an end, we'd love to hear from you. Leave a meaningful comment and tell us, do you believe true love begins when someone finally sees the pain you've been hiding, or do you think love grows through acts of kindness over time? If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey. Remember, sometimes the greatest love story begins the moment someone stops believing your smile and starts caring about your heart.